Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything going on in the world of sports. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go.
Instead of looking deep inside, every word I have to say, keep it simple.
Welcome to an all-new edition of the ODPH podcast. What is happening, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us this week. My name is Ken M. Joining me in studio, as always, you know him. He's the co-host. His name is Padawan J.
Let me talk to you.
And boy, do we have a lot to talk about this week.
Oh, yeah, we do.
This is going to be a fusion edition of the ODPH. So if you're new to the show, first and foremost, thank you for checking us out. Drop a review on your favorite podcatcher. What we like to do is we sometimes have to combine episodes that we normally do because we always keep one sports and pro wrestling, and then the other is movies, TV, comics, and more, known as the entertainment edition. Two separate episodes drop each week. But unfortunately, sometimes life gets in the way.
I would say to quote Jeff Goldblum, life finds a way.
Yes. So this week, life has found a way to interrupt the scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
But fear not, we're still going to give you an episode. And we definitely have a lot to talk about, a little stuff behind the scenes too. So we're going to get into that in just a bit. But Pat, after the episode, where does everybody go?
ODPHpodcast.com.
Right on. Swing on over to the website. Sign up for all the social media accounts. They're right there on the front page. So Threads is blowing up right now. Shout out to all our listeners on Threads. Twitch is growing too. Actually, I got notifications for picking up subscribers there.
All right.
Which is amazing, sure. Obviously, X, Facebook, Instagram, the whole nine. Also, check out the TeePublic store link because there's always some sales going on every now and then. So you got to pop in there, go get some. It's perfect time to go get some swag for con season because obviously everything's kind of in high gear right now. So if you want to go support the brand in that manner, we always say please do. And always just go pick it up when it's on sale. That means the most to us.
Yeah.
Normally at this time, I usually segue to shouting out all our amazing patrons. And I definitely want to shout out Rich from 3FN, John from The Pint, Joey from So Wizard, Off the Cuff Tom, Brian Wayne. Shout out to you wherever you are in the world, my friend. Tyler from 30 and Nerdy, Multiverse of Badness Mike, and Stu, because they've been our amazing patrons since day one. And this week, Pat and I made a little decision.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you are a content creator, you've been hearing a little buzz about some changes going on.
Mm-hmm.
And Pat and I had a collective meeting concerning that. And we have decided to end the Patreon here at the ODPH. There's just a lot of stuff going on with that primarily, and then some stuff that we can't get into behind the scenes here that we'd like to, but let's just say both Pat and I have a very busy fall 2024 coming on.
I had 2 days off last week. How many minutes, this is for you, the listener, and for you. I had 2 days off in a row last week. How many collective minutes do you think I sat down to have for myself over those 2 days?
10.
Yeah, just about.
See, I know him. He's a statistician of stars. I am just, I just know him well. What can I say?
Yeah, so we're busy.
We're very busy, and it's going to get even busier with a lot of stuff with my job at Nerd Initiative as the editor-in-chief, which is not really a secret, by the way. But that being said, to devote the time to really do the Patreon justice, along with the changes that are coming there, we just said, it's best to say thank you to everybody who supported us in that manner, and we are going to still give you the best content we can for free, no paywall in advance. And if we have to do a bonus episode, the stuff we can't say over the airwaves, we can work something out.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way we can do it.
We take payment in Bitcoin.
Yeah, this is true. Pat takes a lot of payments.
I do.
So that being said, we just want to say thank you to all our patrons for all the support over the past couple of years here. And obviously, as things are going to be growing further, you're going to know about it first and foremost with everybody else because there's a lot of things in the works right now, and I really, really wish I could divulge into that. But I don't like to say stuff, and then when it falls through, I kind of go like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, while you're at the website, though, patrons, new listeners, however you are joining the ODPH Society, make sure to check out the blog section. There's always reviews dropping left and right. The classified section, which has friends of this show, such as 3FN Podcast, Dragon Master Games, Nerd Initiative, and many other links, and one especially right now in the United States, voter registration. So make sure to click on that and make your voice heard in November.
Mm-hmm.
That's as far as we ever get with politics here. And then obviously check out the directory because, Pat, how many providers are we on?
We are on 139,767.
Statistician to the stars, folks. That is why, right there. So wherever you're listening to us, like we say, drop a review, let us know what we're doing, what you want to hear on the show, and then we can kind of go from there. But it definitely helps the algorithm to get more people listening to the ODPH. Last and certainly not least, we have a great music section.
Yes, we do.
And there's a little bit of an announcement that Pat has got concerning one Brian Wolf and the Howlers.
Yeah.
So, Pat, take it away.
So Brian made a post on his music Facebook page a couple days ago where he said, quote, "Hello, I have big news. I found out yesterday that I was awarded a massive grant from the city of Austin's Live Music Fund. It's like life-changing, dream-making kind of money that I have now to go make a new full-length record, press vinyl, do proper ad campaign, etc. I want to thank the Austin's Economic Development Department's Music and Entertainment Division for this display of their belief in me. Also, big shout out to everyone who helped me sort out that beast of an application. Feeling tons of gratitude right now and just pure excitement to make these dreams come true. Stay tuned. It's going to be a hell of a back half of the year." Close quote.
Shout out to Brian.
Absolutely.
Amazing news.
Hardest working musician I know personally.
Yeah, he's definitely putting in the work, and it's great to see it finally paying off for him. So we have to have him back on the show.
We do.
We have been playing a lot of phone tag about this.
I think the last, just as a glimpse of the last time he was on our show, I think Aaron Rodgers was still the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers.
This is true.
So it's that was a while ago.
This is quite a while ago, and he's long overdue to swing through here. Along with a lot of the other great bands that you hear on the show each week, such as Tom Jolu, who's crushing it right now. Floodlands going on playing some shows up and down the east coast of the United States. Also, Second Suitor, Shout of the Robots. And for anything else that is the ODPH, you can find it at odphpodcast.com and always on social media. Remember, use the hashtag ODPHpod. You came to hear a parlay of topics. Let's kick it off. Pad, what are we leading off the Fusion Edition with this week?
We're going to be leading off with the event of the weekend, at least in our eyes, that took place down in Perth, Australia at the RAC Arena, and that was UFC 305.
Yes, indeed. A very big fight night and one match that really was going to be a domino effect on a lot of other possible shows in the future. So, Pat, let's recap the main card and give our thoughts on it.
Well, I think, first of all, we got to give a shout out to Ricky Glenn and the shot he took.
Oh,
in
my God,
in
yeah.
the early prelims. If you have not seen that photo, Google Ricky Glenn, forehead, whatever it is. Those of you with weak constitutions might want to avoid it, but hey, if you can stomach it, look it up, because that is the nastiest injury I think I've seen since Anderson Silva broke his leg.
It's up there because it's one of those hematomans.
Subdural hematoma.
Yeah, which, I mean, I think Mark Hominick versus Jose Aldo is coming to mind when I saw that.
Yeah.
But still a nasty, nasty battle scar, to put it mildly.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's one of those, if you got weak constitutions, you might want to avoid, but it did set a high pace for the rest of the night.
Yeah, so we're going to jump right into the main card, and the first fight that took place on the main card was in the welterweight division, where Carlos Pratis, I think that's how you say it, defeated Li Jinglang with a knockout at 4 minutes and 2 seconds of the second round.
Yeah, definitely a solid fight, and I was actually surprised at the outcome. I was not expecting to see that knockout, but hey, you can't take anything away from praise. And this is a big win for him. I don't know where he goes exactly from here, but this is going to be one to kind of see how things shape up. I mean, that whole division right now at welterweight is in this weird state of flux, in my opinion.
I've just been peek behind the scenes. I usually use the Wikipedia page for these UFC cards just because they most oftentimes link to the fighters' own personal pages, so I can go there, look at their records, look at maybe their accolades or whatever. The winner of this fight doesn't actually have a Wikipedia page, so he must be, I was thinking, he must be relatively new. Not really. I mean, he's got a pro MMA record of now 20 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw, and he's on a 10-fight winning streak.
Oh,
holy smokes. Yeah, I'm looking at this. His last quote unquote non-win was a canceled fight in July of last year against a gentleman by the name of Valnito Antunes. That was canceled for reasons. His last actual loss was in 2019 to a gentleman by the name of Gajimurid Abdelev, which was in the One Warrior series. Was a unanimous decision loss. So the dude has not lost in 5 years. So, hey, good for him. Looking at the rankings for welterweight, he's not there yet. So Maybe he's on the outside looking in that like 16, 17 range. You got a record of 20-6. That ain't bad. So who knows? Got Neil Magny at 12, Vincente Luke at 13, Michael Page at 14, Kevin Holland at 15. Might be one of those guys in his future.
Yeah, you have to take a look at something like that in that situation. And I think if you get somebody on the lower end, I think that'd be a solid fight. Because especially when you have a good knockout like he did.
Oh, yeah.
You want to make sure that you're really pushing him forward with that. So I think that makes the most sense to do. And like I say, we'll have to see where it shapes up. But the welterweight division is so much in flux right now. Like I can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah.
So we'll have to really wait and see how things play out.
Next up was a heavyweight battle between Tai Tuivasa and Jairzo Rozenstruik, where you had Rozenstruik emerge victorious, defeating Tai Tuivasa via split decision, 29-28, 27-30, and 30-27.
This is the one that the judge was removed from the card after this fight. So we have to keep that in very clear sight. So this one, Rozenstruik looked really, really good in this fight. I don't think there's any question about this. And Tuivasa, as much as we all love him as a fan favorite, this one was just all Rozenstruik. I don't think there's anything really a home run about this fight.
Yeah.
I mean, it was what it was. You knew that they were going to stand and bang a lot, and we did get a good showing of that. But I think just overall, it's, where does everybody go from here? Rozenstruik is now 10th ranked in the heavyweight division. Tuivasa's dropped down to 13, so he's out of the top 10, which, I mean, Tuivasa is somebody that scraps, and that's why people love him. Yeah. And rightfully so. He's very charismatic. But I think in this day and age with the fight game elevating and you're having a lot more well-rounded fighters, to be somebody that takes a lot of punishment is one thing, but you really got to be well-versed. And I just think, unfortunately, it's going to be a tough climb for him to get back up there. Yeah,
you would think. And I got to say, just that judge getting removed is the wildest thing I've seen in quite some time for an MMA UFC fight, because I think in all the years I've been watching, I've never seen that happen. Or at least if it's happened, it hasn't been this publicly done.
I can't remember. Like, I want to say it's happened one other time.
Okay.
And I can't remember this. We're talking like over 10 years ago.
Right.
So I'm going to say I'm blanking on it, but I want to say this happened one other time, and like nobody had any idea about like what was going to happen.
Right. Then in the next fight, you had a lightweight division matchup where Dan Hooker defeated Matsuts Gemro with a split decision win, with the judges scoring the contest 28-29, 29-28, and 29-28.
Hooker needed this.
I would say so.
Needed this badly. I'm sorry. As much as I think he's a great fighter, he will scrap. He needed this in the worst possible way.
I mean, he can defeat the guys he should beat. The Al Iaquintas, the Paul Felders, the Jalen Turners, Claudio Puelles. But then you get to the guys that like, all right, this is your test. This is like you taking the next step. Islam Makhachev, he lost via Kimura submission. Michael Chandler, Chandler knocked him out. Dustin Poirier, he lost by unanimous decision. Edson Barbosa, he got knocked out with a punch to the body. So it's definitely one of those ones that like, okay, he's making a name for himself, and maybe he's figured things out and he's turning a page and elevating his game. Time will tell.
Time will tell. I know he shot up the rankings. He's up at number 5 from number 11.
Ooh.
So that was a huge win for him, to say the least. Gamrot was on that fast track, being at number 5. Now he's dropped to number 8.
Oh, jeez.
So for Hooker, he's going to need to put this together, and he's going to need somebody in that top 4.
Which the top, so you got the champion, who is, of course, Islam Makhachev. Number 1 is Arman Sarukin. 2 is Charles Oliveira. 3 is Justin Gaethje. And 4 is Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, like you're going to have to find him somebody.
And it ain't going to be 6 because that's Michael Chandler. And in theory, he's tied up, but fucking time will tell.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Chandler situation, you can't really put him there. I mean, they've already fought. So
yep.
I know the name that was kind of circulating around would be a Charles Oliveira.
That'd be good.
Because in this situation, Oliveira's another fighter that, where do you go with him?
Well, and let me look. I don't think he's fought Oliveira yet, so that'd be one like, okay, hey, let's see. Gamrot, Turner, Claudio Puelles, Arnold Allen, Islam Makhachev, Nasrat Haqparast, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier, Paul Felder, Al Iaquinta, James Vick, Edson Barbosa, Gilbert Burns, Jim Miller, Mark Diakisi, Ross Pearson, Jason Knight, Mark Ediva, Yair Rodriguez, Hatsu Hioki, Maximo Blanco, and Ian Entwistle. Those are all of his opponents in the UFC. So one noticeable name I didn't mention, Charles Oliveira.
Yeah, Oliveira would make a lot of sense there because, I mean, obviously it's going to be a while before he gets back to a title shot.
Mm-hmm.
And if Hooker is really making the run, you almost have to make that because, I mean, obviously Poirier's retired.
Right.
For all intents and purposes.
All intents and purposes.
Let's just say it. Gaethje, I don't see that fight happening.
Nah.
And then obviously Arman's out for a little bit if memory serves me right. So Oliveira makes the most sense. So I would do that fight. But if you don't, I don't know where Hooker goes from here. But I think to see him resurging and maybe he's finally put it together, I think would be a huge win.
Doing a quick Google search, yes, indeed, Arman Sarukin is indeed suspended 9 months by the Nevada Athletic Commission after punching a fan at UFC
That's
300.
right.
Yeah, so
I knew he did something, but I couldn't remember.
That was in June. We're in August, so that's 2 months. So he still has another 7 months. So we're looking at what? September, October, November, December, January, February. Well, he's looking at March before he can fight again. So here's what I would do. You can figure something out with Islam Makhachev. He can fight somebody in the meantime, in between time. You can do Hooker versus Oliveira. They haven't fought anybody. And then whoever Makhachev fights, if he wants to fight anywhere, or Makhachev can just sit there and go, "Hey, Oliveira, Hooker, I'll take the winner."
Yeah.
And then boom, you can do that fight. You can do the Hooker Oliveira fight for say because we're in August now. You can do it for like. Assuming there's nothing wrong with Hooker medically, and he can do a turnaround. You can do Hooker again in, I'd say December, maybe early January. So that way you can then turn around and do him versus Makhachev, and we'll just say May, June.
I'm going to make a bold statement. I think Makhachev's next opponent is Bilal Muhammad.
Ooh,
I think
champ versus champ.
I think he's really eyeing that one. I think that
It's a money fight.
Oh yeah, that's big money. That's big money.
Money moves.
I'm not doubting it because, like we say, with all the uncertainty in the 170 division, I'm not doubting Makhachev goes up.
It could be.
Just if it happens, you heard it here first.
It could be.
Next up
was the co-main event of the evening in the flyweight division, where Kai Kara France defeated Steven Eric with a TKO, punches to be specific, at 4 minutes and 4 seconds of the first round.
Fantastic showing for Kira France.
I mean, listen, I've never seen a flyweight fight that is not incredible.
Yeah, he has really stepped up, and this is a monster win for him. Mm-hmm. And I know he called out Pantoja after this. I need to see that fight.
I mean, why the fuck not?
I think that that's a no-brainer. I don't want to see anybody else match up with him.
Didn't really do anything for his rankings at UFC.com/rankings because he's still ranked number 4.
He might still be ranked number 4 because I obviously...
Then again, he fought Eric, who was the 7th ranked fighter. Now he's 8. So that's probably why.
Yeah, and like I say, that top half of the flyweight division is almost in a weird sense like a carousel.
Kinda.
Like everybody's almost fought everybody more than once. So,
yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at Kai Kara France's list of opponents. Noticeably absent, and I'm not going to go through the whole list here, but noticeably absent in the list of gentlemen he's fought in his UFC days. Hell, I'm even going back to some of his other stuff. There's no Alexandra Pantoja in his list of opponents.
Yeah, so I would...
Brandon Moreno? Yeah, sure. Askar Askarov? Yeah, sure. Cody Garbrandt? Yeah, sure. He's there too. Mark De La Rosa? Yep, he's there too. Pantoja? Nope.
Yeah, I would make that fight in a heartbeat. I think that's the only one that makes sense to me.
Could be.
Like I say, he called him out, and you want a big fight.
That's a money fight.
That's a big money fight.
Might not main event, but it could co-main.
It will be a co-main.
Yeah.
I mean, just very rarely does the lighter weight classes main event, unless it's like light heavyweight or lightweight. I'm sorry. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, for that, that's a great co-main, much like it was for this card. And then we have to take a look at the main event.
The main event was in the middleweight division for the UFC middleweight championship. Dricus Du Plessis was defending his belt against Israel Stylebender Adesanya, making his return to the UFC after a little bit of time off. Didn't really get a whole lot up on Dricus Du Plessis, as it were, because emerging victorious via face crank submission. Dricus Du Plessis retaining his belt at the 3 minutes and 38 second mark of the 4th round.
DDP surprised me on this one.
Yeah,
I honestly thought Adesanya was going to run through him.
Bang.
And
Diamond Dallas Page?
Yeah, I was going to say, but he did not pull it off as I thought he was.
The best description I think I saw for this fight, and I can't take credit for this, I think I saw this on Reddit, was Israel was making a comeback and starting to like possibly edge past Duplessis in this fight. And then Duplessis went, yeah, that's enough of this.
Yeah, more or less. I think the one thing is Adesanya fights very similar to Anderson Silva.
Yes.
He's very patient in setting up his strikes, and Duplessis, I thought, usually is not that aggressive. Like, he does press forward, but we're talking in comparison like to a Vanderlei Silva in his prime.
Right.
He's not that much on the gas pedal. I thought he really stepped up for this, and maybe it was all the trash talking beforehand.
Could be.
Whatever the case is.
Could be.
I really thought he looked good in this, and he was really giving Adesanya a lot of problems. Once it got to that fourth round, that's where I thought DDP really started turning it on, and then sure enough, when he sneaks in the takedown and then gets Adesanya's back, it was like, holy smokes. I was really shocked at seeing that.
Yeah.
Because I thought Adesanya was doing a good job about keeping him far enough away, but now it's a real big question mark for the middleweight division. Because the name that immediately went up after this fight is Alex Pereira.
Ooh.
And I mean, Pereira, the champ, if you will, arguably the greatest first year in UFC history. If you match DDP up with him, that's box office, but that's a lot of questions. And I don't know necessarily if you can do that fight.
I mean, listen, Adesanya tried the same thing when he went up against, who was it, Blachowicz?
Yes.
But here's what I'm going to say. If this happens, Duplessis can't make the same mistake that Adesanya did and stay at his own goddamn weight class.
Right.
Because, remember, Adesanya stayed at the middleweight weight class, or he went up enough just to make weight for it. And then didn't bulk up. Blachowicz on the other side bulked up like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And swung like, what was it, like 25, 30 pounds after the weigh-ins?
Oh, yeah, he was huge.
Oh, he was huge. He was massive, and it was just so one-sided, it wasn't even funny. If this happens, Duplessis has got to learn from that and go, I need to do the opposite.
No, he absolutely needs to. I know that was the buzz going around, but I don't think that that's a good fight for Duplessis. But here's the crazy thing. I wouldn't doubt, if they can get this talked about, I don't doubt Pereira going back down to 185. He has turned into the new Donald Cerrone.
Yeah, that ain't wrong.
And he's willing to fight at any weight class, which is Dana White's dream, and quite frankly, a fan's dream too, that you have a guy in his prime that is willing to go to different weight classes and fight. And if they put this together, that would be an interesting fight, I would say. I don't know how Pereira's wrestling defense is. I think that would be the only thing I'd be very questioning.
I can look it up or at least get an idea.
Yeah, because he's not really that good on his back or in grappling. Striking, elite. Very hard hitter. He will knock some people out easily. He could catch Duplessis. I wouldn't doubt that.
So, in his professional mixed martial arts career, 13 professional matches, 11 wins, 2 losses. He's got 1 loss by knockout, the other one by submission. The 1 loss from submission was in his very first professional fight for a federation called Jungle Fight. It was Jungle Fight 82 on October 24th, 2015, and it was a rear naked choke submission. So that's literally his 1 submission loss in his entire professional career.
Well, that would be interesting. So I don't know necessarily that's going to happen. I do remember, though, he does have a fight lined up for 307 against Khalil Roundtree.
Okay.
So depending on who wants to take time off and injuries and all that, like I say, that could be a long shot.
Could be.
I know the one that I think makes a lot of logical sense on paper, but I don't know if they're going to do it, is Sean Strickland against DDP, which, bang. I mean, I'm just saying, I would love to see that fight. I don't know if the UFC is going to do it. I mean, that's a whole decision that they're going to have to make.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Strickland has earned it.
I'd say so.
So I wouldn't question it. So That being said, Case, if this fight does go down, that will be fireworks. The press conference will be out of control. I'm going to put that out right now.
Oh my God, yeah, it would be.
So if they really want to go into insane territory, the first time these guys fought was wild. This second one would be absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And like I say, I could definitely see that. There's also one other fighter that may be in the mix about this.
Okay.
And that's Robert Whitaker.
Ooh.
Now, Whitaker is scheduled to fight Khamzat Chimaev.
Good luck, dude.
But here's the biggest question. And as messed up as this sounds, I believe there's a line about if Chimaev's going to pull out of the fight or not. Because, let's face it, unfortunately, he's had a lot of setbacks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd love to see Chimaev back in the cage. Mm-hmm. It all depends. So if that fight doesn't happen, where do we go from here? And then for Adesanya, that's an even bigger question mark because now he's not going to get near a title shot at middleweight. I believe him going up to light heavyweight, that would be a problem because we saw when he was up there, unless he's willing to bulk up and stay there.
Right.
I don't know. Like he's another one. Where that's
right.
That's one I don't know. I think if Chimaev does fight, and depending on what happens with Whitaker, maybe you get the loser out of that one.
Yeah.
Could happen. But like I say, there's just so much uncertainty there. And I don't know necessarily if him going up to light heavy is a right move either. Mm-hmm. So I think DDP winning has really caused this domino effect like we touched upon.
So I was trying to do some little quick research on possible stuff with Khamzat Chimaev while you were talking. Did come across this though. There are some betting odds that have been put out into the world via someone. I'm reading an article from MMAfighting.com, and it's in regards to potential opponents for Dricus du Plessis. Against Sean Strickland, du Plessis is a -130 right now. Sean Strickland is a +110.
Okay.
Against Alex Pereira, du Plessis is a -200. Pereira is a +170.
That's a lot closer than people think, yeah.
Against Robert Whitaker, Dricus du Plessis is a -185. Whitaker is a +160. This one's interesting, though. The odds makers apparently don't like du Plessis' chance against Khamzat because against Khamzat, du Plessis is a +170 and Khamzat is a -200. So, take that for what you will.
Definitely have to take that for what it is. Yeah, that kind of really sums it up. With all those betting odds being so close, it's almost like DDP can call a shot in a certain degree. I think Strickland makes the most sense. If I'm not mistaken, Dana did say he's #1 contender. So I think you have to play that fight out.
Right.
I hope they do.
Right. Strickland, I'm looking at UFC.com/rankings. Strickland is #1.
Yeah, so I think that would make a lot of sense.
They wouldn't. Adesanya's #2, but wouldn't be him because, we just saw Adesanya lose.
Right. I don't think they would say an immediate rematch by any stretch.
Yep. Whitaker's #3. Nasruddin Imavov is #4, and Jared Cannonier is #5.
Yeah, that could be something too with
down the road, not now.
Yeah, down the road.
Too soon.
Yeah, I would say. Amanov and Adesanya. Maybe, but I think Amanov's got another fight in between. But that's what I say. With this fight, it really created a lot of uncertainty. It did have great fights, though. Like I say, the main card was very, very solid.
Yeah.
Pat, final thoughts on UFC 305 and some things after that?
A little bit of fun surrounding this fight in the lead up to and after. Noted betting fan Drake. Mm-hmm. That Drake likes to place bets and likes to post his stakes, no pun intended, on what he's got on the fight. He did post to his Instagram before the fight on Saturday that he put $450,000 down on Israel Adesanya to win. And he posted it with the caption saying, "Always with Izzy," and the saluting emoji. Stylebender, as you can see, did comment on said photo. And obviously, given the fact that Adesanya did not win and Dricus du Plessis won, Dricus du Plessis took to Twitter on, what was this, Sunday morning, 4:30 a.m. Eastern time, so whatever time that was over in Australia, with a photo of him holding the UFC title and a glass of something. It looks like it's a alcoholic beverage of some
Yes.
sort. I can't see what it is. His hand is covering it. And a little bit of a smirk on his face. And it says on the photo, quote, "From the bottom of my heart, once again, thank you at Drake." Crying while laughing emoji.
More power to him.
Oh, I love it. And we got to give a shout out to some of the bonuses. Fight of the night went to Dan Hooker versus Matsuts Gamrot.
Rightfully so.
And then performance of the night went to Kai Kara France and Carlos Paredes.
Yeah, can't argue that.
No,
I mean, I think
good set of fights though.
very good set of fights, and I know there was the announcements about future fights happening too. The one I was going to really mention was the co-main for UFC 307, and as the women's bantamweight title, Juliana Pena against Raquel Pennington.
Ooh.
So that should be a very, very good fight.
That is where also the fight where you've got Pereira taking on Roundtree for the light heavyweight title.
Right, that'll be the main.
Yep. Jose Aldo's on that card going out against Mario Bautista. Stephen Thompson is going up against Joaquin Buckley. Roman Dolidze is going up against Kevin Holland. Aljamain Sterling versus Movsar Evloev. And then women's bantamweight, Ketlin Vieira against Kayla Harrison. That's a loaded card.
I was going to say the Harrison Vieira fight, that could be number one contender for whoever wins.
Calling from Salt Lake City for that fight.
Yeah, whoever wins against Pena and Pennington. Very, very solid UFC stuff going on. So that being said, hit us up on the hashtag ODPH pod. What is your thoughts about UFC 305? Where do you think everybody's going from here? The middleweight division is in a very big state of chaos. So is the welterweight division. And then what do you do with the flyweights? Let's talk about that. And Dan Hooker, where does he go? Title shot or bust? Let's discuss, shall we? First, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The content you are listening to is part of the Nerd Initiative Podcast Network. For more info about the home of pop culture positivity, check out nerdinitiative.com.
Hey there, I'm Chris from the Geek Peak Podcast here with my two co-hosts, Trent.
What up?
And Brandon.
Yo, yo.
Here at the Geek Peak, we strive to provide you the best content from all across the pop culture multiverse.
Think of us as your content concierge, seeking out all the best movies, TV, games, and music to save your valuable time.
We have a different adult beverage every week, and we like to keep things light and fresh, so come hang out with us.
So check us out on all your favorite podcasting platforms. That's Geek Peak.
Like a mountain!
And check out our site at geekpeakpod.com.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. And there's a series that has come out on Amazon Prime Video.
Uh-huh.
And it is one that Pat and I have taken our time to watch.
Yes.
Because this one has a big legacy behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And is one I had the fortunate pleasure of reviewing early. And I have had to keep my mouth quiet about.
Lucky son of a gun.
And now I can finally talk about it deep diving. Pat is caught up on it. What are we going to be talking about?
We're going to be talking about, I guess you could call it the spiritual successor to Batman the Animated Series from the 90s. That would be Batman Caped Crusader.
Yes, indeed. The new animated series involving one Bruce Wayne and his escapades as Gotham's protector has made their first season debut on Prime Video.
Mm-hmm.
And this one had a lot of star power behind it because, Pat, I mean, you talk about who's some of the producers, J.J. Abrams, Bruce Timm.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams is on there. Ed Brubaker is on here as well. Matt Reeves. You might have heard of that guy. Bruce Timm, he's one of the creative minds behind Batman the Animated Series from back in the day. Superman the Animated Series from also back in the day. Justice League Unlimited. So half of my childhood.
Exactly. And this season, 10 episodes, really came in, made an impact. A lot of fans have been talking about it, but we have to give you our takes on this. Now, if you haven't seen this series for whatever reason, and you're new to the ODPH, what we like to do is give you a spoiler-free statement before we get into it. Then we give you a countdown. After said countdown, we go deep diving. We don't hold anything back. We say our piece. We talk spoilers. We talk theories. We talk all that good stuff. But we don't want to ruin anything for you. So that being said, when you hear that countdown, you got to make a choice. Either you stay on the show or you pause the episode, watch, and then catch back up and join in the conversation because we got a lot to say about this one. So, Pat, in 3, 2, 1, talk to me about your spoiler-free statement.
The series is very good. It's not better than Batman the Animated Series, but I will say it has potential to be very close. It's in the style of like the 1930s, 1940s cartoons in both look and feel. If you're going into this expecting kind of this modern cartoon storytelling feel where it's going to be one episode connects to the next, and there's this overarching story, and there's going to be this like villain lurking in the background. And by the end of the series, or 3/4 of the way through, they're going to reveal themselves. And how's Batman going to overcome their villainous plot to overthrow Gotham or throw it into turmoil? And how's he going to save the day? Yeah, you're going to be slightly disappointed because this is very episodic. It's very, you can skip, it goes back to those Saturday morning cartoon days where if you missed an episode for whatever reason and then you caught the next one the following week, you know what? You really didn't miss much. Mm-hmm. But it's very good. The voice cast for this is as stellar as you can imagine because, some of the names on this, John DiMaggio, the voice acting legend who's been in damn near everything. Gray Griffin also been in a whole bunch of stuff. James Arnold Taylor's in this as well. Yuri Lowenthal, Jason Marsden is in this as well. Tom Kenny, yes, SpongeBob SquarePants himself is in it. Christina Ricci's in it as well. Just to name a few. So the Corey Burton among it as well. Paul Scheer is in it. The Haley Joel Osment is in it as well. So the voice cast is incredible. The episodes are good. But I feel like there's still a little bit room for improvement and some work, but it was still very good.
I think this is the closest we're going to get to Batman the Animated Series in this day and age. Mm-hmm. And I think they really nailed it out of the park. There's only a couple episodes that I really thought didn't mesh well with the overall picture of what they wanted to do with Gotham. Yeah. But we have to remember when this series was announced, this was during the peak time of The Batman by Matt Reeves. Yep. And there was a lot of hype behind it. Originally, it was announced at a Warner Brothers media event. Yep. And when you have J.J. Abrams and Bruce Timm tagged with this as the lead executive producers, you're going to have a lot of fans watching, and really the bar is set extremely high. And then when WBD passed on this, and Amazon Studios picked it back up, it kind of went quiet. Mm-hmm. Like, we all didn't know it was coming until all of a sudden they really announced, like, hey, it's coming out in August and July, and here you go. Yeah. So we have to really keep this in the context. And then obviously knowing some of the names behind it, especially Ed Brubaker, who is a legendary comic writer, to see that they had all this talent behind this, let alone all the other writers involved and the voice actors as well, you really had a lot to go in with. And I thought what they did is they told a great year 2 story. Yeah. This really felt like Batman Year 2. Yes. And I liked how they made some changes. I know some fans had some differing opinions, but I think anytime you do a show like this, it wasn't such extreme changes like Beware the Batman, or the one that was on the CW for many years, for a couple of years, and it was like the really like freakish Joker, and yes, Batman on skis.
I think it was Batman Brave and the Bold. Or something like that.
It was one of them.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, like the ones like, because sometimes you can go into an extreme measure and it doesn't click. Yeah. I thought this one kept it to the core essence. I loved how they really focused on the detective aspect of Bruce Wayne.
That one?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. I know which one you're talking about.
So, and that one is...
that one I think was voiced by this is Joe. Was voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, and this was for the series. Let me see, the Batman. The Batman.
Yeah, this was the last one that they had the Batman title in the CW. Yeah. Yeah, because like I say, with that one, that was taken to a lot of extremes, like a lot more miss than hit, in my opinion. Yeah. This show really got back to basics, and I think that that's something we had to do. And
came out in 2004.
Yeah, and Hamish Linklater did a phenomenal job voicing Bruce Wayne and really setting a tone for a more grounded Gotham City, and it played well. And what we saw, there's a lot of room that Pat touched upon that they can go for season 2. Yeah. We already know season 2 is coming.
Yep, is coming for season 2. So a couple behind the scenes things that you alluded to that I was looking at. So the show was developed and it was announced. And then what ended up happening is it was announced in August, I think. August 2022 that it would no longer be moving forward on HBO Max. And then we wouldn't find out until September that the series but it was still being worked on. And then we found out in September it was being shipped around to networks like Netflix, Prime, Apple TV Plus. And then it wasn't announced until March 2023 that Amazon would be the new distributor of the series. And then we did find out it had been renewed for a second season. We should note, though, that according to this article, Ed Brubaker is not returning for season 2 due to the Writers Guild strike in 2023 and scheduling conflicts. So no Ed Brubaker for season 2, but I'm sure season 2 is going to be just as amazing.
I think with the team they have assembled here, I don't think we're going to have any sophomore slump.
Nope.
But there's a lot to dive into this first season. So that being said, we are going to start talking spoilers. So you have been fair warned. In 3, 2, 1, spoiler talk, Pad. What's going on?
I liked it. It was very good. It's a very solid start for a new Batman series, which, let's face it, when you talk a new Batman animated series, there is a very high bar for that premise. You know, whether you go back to Batman the animated series or any of the subsequent continuations of that initial series. I know there was Batman and Robin, the new adventures of Batman and Robin, you know, or you go into Justice League Unlimited, you know, or even some of the newer stuff. If you're a fan of that, it's a very high bar, you know, and it's a good first step. It's a good entry level. You know, it does a good job of kind of setting the world up and establishing it and kind of telling the viewer like, hey, listen, you might come into this with some preconceived notions and expectations of what to see in this show when it comes to certain characters. Don't expect those preconceived notions to play out, because this isn't, you know, the Batman animated series you grew up with watching, you know, on a Saturday morning or whatever, whenever you happen to watch it, because it's its own thing. It's a new thing. And it does a very good job of establishing those characters. And I think that's by and large what a lot of this first season is. It's setting the groundwork. It's establishing these characters and kind of setting things up for wherever it's going to go for season 2, because it's a little disconnected and it's a little disjointed at parts, which for me, watching stuff nowadays, you know, it's so connected and it's so one to the next, to the next, to the next, kind of threw me off a little bit, but I didn't hate it, but I still liked it very much.
I really thought that they captured the essence of what they wanted to tell here. And that's, we're going to have a Batman that's still learning to be Batman.
Yep.
And that's what we got. And I really thought Linklater's performance brought that to the table.
Yeah.
I really thought that they did some very cool takes with the rogues, which I don't care that they did a gender swap with the Penguin, because I thought Minnie Driver did an amazing job.
Real good job.
And I like how they were really dabbling into the rogues and really let them take precedent.
Yeah.
Like, I think for a lot of them, they stole the show on Batman.
Right.
As you really should. And I really think that every rogue that he had to face gave him challenge, except for a couple episodes. There's a couple that I just did not connect with.
Sure.
But I really think for overall, I thought it was a very cool and creative way to do things. I know that they did this with a couple of the other rogues, especially Harley Quinn, who was voiced by Jamie Chung.
She's fucking creepy as all shit, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
No, I thought
my God.
I thought that she actually stole the season.
So I got to admit, I went into this a little, I don't want to say nervous, but I was, let's see what happens, because I saw the trailer and there was the quick glimpse of Harley Quinn, and I'm like, oh, that's clearly supposed to be Harley Quinn or some variation of her. But it's not the one we've seen for 30 years or whatever it is at this point. I think it's close to 40 now. But you know what? Let's wait and let it play out. And, you know, and I kind of was the same way with Penguin. You know, we've been seeing the character of Penguin in the male form, you know, as a male since what? Like on screen. I'm not talking comics, but on screen since Batman Returns in the 80s.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on like 50 years of seeing kind of the same iteration of Penguin, just told with a different voice. And now, especially with the television series tied in with Matt Reeves' Batman coming, obviously folks are, you know, even casuals, you know, folks like you, unlike you or I, who don't watch and read everything, they're going to be thinking of that portrayal. And they're going to go, listen, this isn't the portrayal from the Matt Reeves film. This isn't Danny DeVito. This isn't Paul Williams, who voiced him in the Batman the Animated Series from the 90s. It's something new. It's something different. And you know what? We're going to keep you on your heels, because you think you're going to know what to expect when some of your favorite villains pop up. I mean, hell, Clayface.
Yeah.
Holy hell. Like, again, I went into this like, okay, I've seen Clayface in both the animated series and the video games. That was not what I expected, but it was in the best way possible. So you look at these characters that are different, and especially, like I said, with Harley Quinn, getting back to Harley Quinn, probably my favorite part of the entire series was her and just how creepy it was.
Oh yeah, completely. Like top to bottom, like they really did such a great job with her. And the one thing too is they didn't tie it in with the Joker.
No.
There was nothing involving.
It was different, and I liked it.
Yeah. And that's one thing I say. I love the performance that they did with her character.
Yeah.
Because it did build up. You got a big payoff when we get to, episode 5 there.
Yeah.
And that's where you really started getting that vibe. But like I say, they took some chances and they really did some really creative reimaginings, which I know people are losing their mind about the Penguin.
Yeah.
Stop. I'm sorry. Like I said, I had no problem with this with the reimagining, I should say. And I thought Minnie Driver knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
So like I say, when you already start that strong and run with it, they did well. And I thought Christina Ricci's Catwoman was fine.
Yeah.
That was probably the closest to a classic Batman episode that I think we're going to get with this season. And then how things progressed, there was a lot of stuff that I was sitting there going, you know what? I like where the direction is going. And then I know you and I actually have a conflicting view about one episode.
Okay.
And that is the Night of the Hunters.
Oh, yeah, the one with Firebug, as he's called.
Yes.
I think it's supposed to be Firefly, but they call him Firebug.
Yeah, I think that one, I thought was their best episode.
I didn't really like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that because why I really love this episode, and I think for this it stood out to me for.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that they showed how Batman was not beloved.
Right.
And how the corrupt officers of Gotham were really going, and you got to get that real sense of the disconnect. And I really thought how they portrayed it well, because obviously you have Renee Montoya, who's going there and is trying to capture Batman. And I thought that when you start seeing that play out, that really added to a lot of the effects. And I thought Michelle Bonilla, who voiced her, did phenomenal.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like, I like Batman, no matter what medium it's in, at his best, when he's kind of like on that fringe where he's not exactly friendly with the government in power, or like the mayor and the police force, but like he works with some of them, like especially Gordon. I'm okay with it when he's like, oh yeah, walking into the police station and all the cops are going, hey, how you doing, Batman? Good to see you. Thanks for doing what you do. But I just like it better when he's like on that fringe of like, Gordon works with him, but it's like, okay, I can't really be seen with you because it's going to put my butt in the proverbial fire if I'm seen with you, because you were like public enemy number 1 at this point. So the way they did it in this series, I loved.
Yeah, I loved how they set that up, and I thought it really played well. And I thought for Night of the Hunters, like that was the one that really stood out for me.
Yeah, I just wasn't a fan.
No, hey, we're allowed to disagree here.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be a home run. I mean, I think when we start diving in further in the episodes, though, there was a couple that I thought really took me out. And I thought, I understand why they put it in.
Yeah.
But I also thought it was unnecessary for what they wanted to do with the overall picture.
Sure.
That was episode 6 entitled Night Ride.
Yeah.
And episode 8 entitled Nocturne.
Yeah.
I thought that those 2 episodes, because they delve into the supernatural, I just didn't think it fit with the overall theme of keeping this so grounded.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been better, because I thought Nocturne was okay. I think it would have been better if it would have been swapped with Moving Target. Because in Night Ride, it does play in where you do have the bit where like Dent accepts Rupert Thorne's donation. That was kind of like one of the few overarching threads throughout the whole series was Harvey Dent. He's the DA. He's running for mayor. If you've read or seen Batman, you know the story. And you knew where this was going. I just felt like that could have been swapped with episodes, because that's the thing with the series is you can swap some of these episodes around and it really doesn't hurt the overall story. For me personally, though, just because I didn't watch it all in one sitting, I watched it over the course of a couple of nights, and one of the breaks I took was in between watching, like, I think I watched like 4, 5, and 6, and then like another day or two later I watched like 7 and 8, and I watched 7 and then went into 8, and there was the whole thing with Dent's campaign and whatever else. I'm like, oh, right, he did the thing with Rupert Thorne a couple episodes ago. Like, it took me a minute just to realize and have it click back in with me. Not, like I said, Nocturne was okay. I think it could have been swapped with 7 and it would have been a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably the only misfire I really thought they had.
Right.
I thought they nailed it, especially Dietrich Bader's performance as Harvey Dent.
Yeah, that was really good.
I thought it picked up as the season went on.
Yes.
I didn't think it was that good right out the gate.
It was so-so.
It was so-so, but I really thought it picked up. And obviously, when you get to the final 2 episodes of the season, that's where you really get the Harvey Dent you're looking for. That's when they tie up a lot. The Killer and Me and Savage Knight, I really thought that those were probably those two together made a lot of sense.
Those need to be, if you're going through this season and watching it for the first time, those need to be watched back to back.
Yeah, you have to.
You cannot sit there, watch one, go to bed, get up the next day and do whatever it is you have to do, whether it be school or work or vacation or what. Like, no, you need to watch those 2 episodes back to back.
Yeah, like I say, I fully agree with there. I thought that they really ended things on a strong note. I know they teased the Joker for next season.
Yep, he did appear a couple of times as Joe Chill and the Joker.
Yeah, so that does make sense. And then to see how they're going to incorporate that in this new universe, I think is good.
I also like they didn't credit who voiced him. It kind of left a mystery.
Well,
which again is a good idea, just because when you talk about voicing Joker, there's a long list of folks who have done it. Some of them very storied. Hello, Mark Hamill.
Oh, exactly. Well, I think that the executive team behind this knew this. Because, I mean, obviously you have to fill the late, great Kevin Conroy's shoes.
Yeah. And
if you're going to go with, a new Batman, they really have to bring it. And I thought that that's what we got here with Linklater's performance.
Yeah.
Linklater's, I should say. Excuse me. I really thought we got that. And I think with the Joker, you're going to have to do that as well. So it's not to say that they wouldn't switch it out for this season, because I think they just needed a tease. But I think taking the Joker out of this season, I think really helped.
I think it did too, just because obviously when you talk Batman, you're going to think, next thing you're going to think is Joker. And it's such a high bar, and it's something you have to nail. There is no room for a misstep or a slip up, whether it's, it's just not solid writing or just a scenario he realistically wouldn't be in, you really got to nail it. And obviously everyone's going to, and that's the thing I feel like they did with this entire series, was they took the preconceived notions or expectations you had and flipped them on their head. So obviously you think anything Batman, all right, when's Joker showing up? When are we going to see him versus Joker? Who's going to be Joker? Who's going to voice Joker? And they went, you know what? You're not getting Joker. You haven't earned him yet.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was perfect. I mean, I think they really hit most of the key points. There was the one key relationship, I guess we could call it, that I thought they missed.
Yeah.
And that was Batman and Alfred.
Yeah, that was weird.
Pennyworth. I did not like that.
Pennyworth.
I mean...
Yeah, I didn't either. Especially okay, it's early in the career, it's year 2, like you said. But even still...
He has never in the history of comics or pop culture ever talked down.
Yeah, he was talking down to him. I don't want to say he was shit-talking him, but...
He was.
It got close.
No, he was. I mean, there was that one episode that was just it got to the point it was almost uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, you got to people got to remember too, Alfred has literally raised him since diapers.
Exactly.
So he has known him for every single milestone, good or bad, his entire life. So in all effect, he's his surrogate father.
Yeah.
Once his dad died, and obviously Bruce to this day, has affection for his biological father, but Alfred is his adoptive father for all intents and purposes. So for everything Alfred did over the years, for him to sit there and just call him Pennyworth?
Yeah, just repeatedly.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
No, I didn't think. And Linklater and Jason Watkins had great chemistry together once they got past that.
Yeah.
But that one...
the moment where he finally called him Alfred in the suit was a nice moment.
Yeah, it was,
but it just felt unnecessary.
Yeah, that was completely unnecessary, because you're going to tell me the entire time that Batman has been training and leaving Gotham and all that.
Well, and presumably since he was a kid.
Yeah.
Pennyworth.
That he has just downgraded him to not even show him proper respect. I don't buy that. I'm sorry. I thought that was something that really took me out of those episodes.
Yeah.
Because I want to say that was right around Night Ride as well too.
Something like that, yeah.
But still, it was just it didn't mesh up to where they needed to go. I thought everything else though, they really nailed and really gave a fresh take on a lot of classic characters. And that was the big takeaway for me, that I was very excited when we got to the end, because knowing what they've done with the Rogues, because if the Rogues aren't great, Batman won't be either. And I really thought the performances we had this season really stepped it up. I mean, even right out of the gate with Oswalda Cobblepot, which I loved. Like I say, I was completely on board.
Great first episode.
Completely on board with the new Penguin and how they presented her and just that really set.
It's just how ruthless she is.
Well, yeah.
Good God.
Because that's how the Penguin truly is in the comics.
Yeah.
He is literally the biggest gangster in all of Gotham City.
She killed her son.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't think she means business and ain't someone to cross with, like, yo.
Yeah. No, that was right out of the gate.
And scares the you-know-what out of her other son.
Yeah. I mean, that's right out of the gate. And that's something that plays right into the comics that you know now.
And that's the thing, too, with that episode. That was a great, like I said, a great first episode and a great establishing point for especially you and I, who I grew up on Batman the Animated Series. I know you watched it as well, and so did probably most of our listeners.
Yeah.
But that was a great establishing point to those people who grew up on that series to tell us, listen, Batman the Animated Series is great. This ain't it.
No, this is definitely not it.
I cannot imagine in the 90s or even into the 2000s with Justice League Unlimited and Injustice League that they would have ever had that version of Penguin kill his own kids.
Well, that's
in the comics nowadays. The story continues. Sure,
yeah,
I could see that they've definitely gone some places with the continuation of that series in the comics that the TV show never did. But in that time and place, never would have happened.
Oh, it never would have. I mean, first and foremost, Saturday morning cartoons, they never would have done that.
Correct.
This is geared for a more mature audience.
There's a reason we never saw dead bodies in that cartoon.
Ever. So that being said, I really thought they established it for a mature audience. But like I say, once I read Ed Brubaker was involved, I'm going, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever read Gotham Central, you knew about how the police were going to be for this.
Yeah.
And I really thought they meshed it up with Matt Reeves' vision of Gotham because it is a very dark and corrupt place. There's a lot of heinous stuff that goes on. If you haven't seen the movie by now.
Well, Christ, there's the one plot line throughout the first part or whatever part of the season where it's like, oh, they establish the task force, and then it gets ripped out from underneath them, and they know the rest of the police force is corrupt.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it ties back into those great books, and then you sit there, and this is just like the complete combination of that realistic, grounded, dark sense that Matt Reeves has established with the animated version that we've all grown up with, and now for a new generation.
Yeah.
I really think they got a lot of mileage out of this.
I do too, and they can do as many seasons of this as they want. I will continue to watch.
Oh yeah, I agree too. Like I say, unless season 2 is a complete misfire, but we don't know what's going to be the extent after that.
No, we don't.
We do know it's greenlit for 2.
Yep.
The second one is in getting worked on right now.
Presumably. It got announced that it's getting a season 2. Where it is, we have no idea.
Right, but we'll definitely be covering it when it comes out, and then we'll have to wait to see if they do season 3. But I think for being the successor to Batman the Animated Series, the true one, I really thought they did a great job.
Yeah.
But they also did a great job of making it feel like its own series. So, Pad, final thoughts on Batman Cape Crusader.
Fantastic show. Definitely one that if you grew up on the animated series, no matter when you watch it, whether you watched it when it was on TV or you watched it later, on streaming, one you need to check out now. And there's great episodes throughout all. I mean, my favorite, I think, might have been Moving Target, episode 7. That one was just nuts. And the plot twist you got towards the end of that episode, holy crap, but just a phenomenal series. And I cannot wait for season 2 to come. But hey, take your time on it. No rush.
Well, that's one thing I think that they'll do very smart. I mean, this is one thing that we know with Amazon Studios. You take a look at Invincible and how long that took to come. Yeah. And then some of the other anime shows that we've seen recently involving superheroes. I mean, I think the fans are willing to wait as long as the quality is there. And after seeing what we saw here, I think there's a lot of patience that we're going to see, especially with the creative takes that they're going to do. Because like I say, it can't be stressed enough. They take some chances and they really go and flip a lot of the preconceived notions of Batman's rogues on a 180, and they work. Minnie Driver's amazing as the Penguin. Jamie Chung is fantastic as Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't doubt that we see both of them back next season, even though there's a lot of things happening with their storylines. And I really thought for what they wanted to do, they hit every mark they needed to. Albeit, though, they did try a couple chances that didn't pan out. But listen, if you know anything about Batman stories, he's been around for how many years now?
80 plus.
Not everything is going to be a home run, but as long as the majority wins out, we all win as fans, and we have a lot to rave about. Batman Cape Crusader is currently airing on Prime Video, so definitely go check out Season 1, 10 episodes. It'll be definitely worth your time. And then hit us up on that hashtag ODPH Pod. Give us your thoughts. Have you seen the season already? Or after you get done watching it, let's talk Batman Cape Crusader on Prime Video. That all said, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
You ever wondered what comics Mark from Vale is into? What Zach from Left Behind's favorite MCU movies are? Well, Metalcore Nerds is the show for you. My name is Sean Mott, and here at Metalcore Nerds, we cover the latest things in pop culture, whether it be Star Wars, Marvel, DC, AEW, and everything else in between. You can listen to the show every Monday on Adobe Howl at 7 p.m. Eastern, or find it anywhere you find podcasts after it debuts on the radio station.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast, and there's some news that we definitely want to address.
Yeah.
And obviously a little heartbreaking to a certain degree, but one that's not completely out of the realm of thought that it happened.
Yeah.
Pad, what are we talking?
We're going to be talking about the news that came to us yesterday from the folks over at Deadline, and that is the Acolyte, of course, that is the Star Wars series, has been canceled, and there will not be a season 2 for the series on Disney+.
Yeah, very shocking news to a certain degree.
Yeah.
The Star Wars live action series based in the High Republic definitely was a polarizing one for many various reasons, I guess, even though we personally did not find it as polarizing as a lot of people allegedly did.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the nicest way we can put it.
Yeah.
Because the series obviously is not the regular Star Wars cookie cutter of Vader and Luke and Han and everybody.
Yeah.
So we need to just keep that in mind. But with what we got with this season, definitely left fans wondering if we were going to get more. And I really think the slow pacing of it really hurt the show.
Yeah.
I mean, Amanda Stenberg, who played the twins involved with the series, did a phenomenal job. And obviously how this spiraled into the Battle of Sith versus Jedi really captured the audience, but I don't think it captured well enough for where it needed to go to win over the pop culture audience, which, I mean, unfortunately, when we talk about live action shows, this is what we're talking about. You have to win over pop culture. You're not going to win the fans that are always going to be 24/7 Star Wars.
Yeah.
You need to win over the casual fans that just tune in because they hear about it at work or at school. That's who you need to win over.
Yeah.
And when this was announced, I mean, obviously online has had a lot of different reactions.
Oh, boy.
So I'm going to defer to the Star Wars aficionado of 607 Podcast, Pad. What is your take on all this?
I mean, it's not entirely surprising. I figured if we were going to hear anything, we would have heard about it at D23, or even I know something online. You know, you would have heard, but the show dropped, and then there was the usual social media posts from the Star Wars accounts about it, and then radio fucking silence.
Yeah,
you know, and obviously the reaction online had been mixed, to say the least. I know the critics and whatnot was kind of mixed as well. It had, I believe it was like a 70-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. But just the thing with these shows, and, you know, while they don't necessarily do the Nielsen viewers like traditional television does, it does still matter how many people are watching this, because the reported budget for this show was $180 million. It's a lot of money.
yeah,
And if you're making it and you're paying all these people to work on the show and nobody's watching it, and I'm not saying the show went unwatched by
right.
any stretch, but if it wasn't meeting a certain level of criteria that made the powers that be happy, then obviously they're not going to go forward with it. And I think one of the telling pieces of this was from the Deadline article, where it says, quote, partway into the article, it says, quote, driven by interest into the venerable space franchise, The Acolyte got off to a strong start when it launched June 4th with 2 episodes, generating 4.8 million views in its first day on the streamer, to rank as the biggest series premiere on Disney Plus this year. That the tally rose to 11.1 million views globally after 5 days of streaming. Corroborating Disney's data, the series made its way on Nielsen's top 10 originals chart in its premiere week at number 7 with 488 million minutes viewed, climbing to number 6 the following week. But the Acolyte could not sustain the momentum, dropping out of the top 10 in week 3 and staying off before returning at number 10 after the release of the finale, 335 million minutes viewed, believed to be the lowest for a Star Wars series finale. Close quote. So, I mean, listen, I think it was an ambitious show. It was diving headfirst into probably the most ambitious project Lucasfilm has ever done since I would say George Lucas first started working on this universe. In that, it's the first time that I can remember they've done a project in the High Republic where the adult novels, the young adult novels, the junior novels, the DK books, the Marvel comics, the Disney comics, the IDW comics, the Dark Horse comics, and the at least 2, I think there's a third audio drama coming, all tie in together. Mm-hmm. All of it matters. All of it interconnects. All of it, like, if you got a character dying in one of the adult novels, well, then if they're in one of these subsequent comic books, they can't appear in that comic anymore.
Right.
You got to write them out somehow. This isn't like you can just play willy-nilly with it. And it's a project that has been going on since at least 2019, maybe 2020. It's been going on for a while, and they're doing phases with it, much in kind of the same MCU version with it. And I want to say they're finishing up phase 3 right now, and they're getting ready to head into phase 4 very soon. I think if memory serves, the mainline Marvel comic for the High Republic is just quote unquote wrapped up. They're not doing anything else. The next thing tying into it is an audio drama Kevin Scott is doing that's coming out in October or November, somewhere in there. And then the mainline comic isn't coming back until like December or January. So to dive into a period where it's 100 years before the events of the films. There's nobody here you're familiar with, which in certain instances isn't a bad thing, but it kind of makes it hard for casuals to connect to. It was ambitious. It was a good attempt, I would say, but I think it could have been a little bit better.
Well, that's a very fair statement. I mean, we have to remember this, not thinking as fans that live, breathe Star Wars very regularly. I mean, that's you 24/7.
Yeah, I knew what we were in for.
Yeah. We have to sit here and go with any live action adaptation, whether it's Marvel, whether it's, the CW when they were doing the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
There has to be some reservation and pause when you release something that the fans of pop culture are now familiar with. And I think for this show, while ambitious as it was, and I liked it for what it was, you knew that it was going to be split down the middle about the reaction. And I think that that's something that we see with the Marvel shows too, because everybody's screaming about, oh, well, there's other shows that we haven't heard about since, like it's been one and dones.
Right.
And it's the matter of if the audience gets away from it being just the brand, which I think they're transitioning to for all fronts.
Could be.
And it's not to say it's fatigue, but I think there's so much content out there that you don't go, oh, it's the Marvel show, I just watching it and I like it because it's Marvel.
Right.
Like same thing is like with Star Wars. I don't just love it because it's Star Wars.
Right.
Like you can just go watch something else.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the beauty and the curse of current television / movies / media these days. There's a lot to stand out and there's a lot to challenge with. And I think for this show, while ambitious as it was, and as somebody that loves creativity, i.e. you heard the praise we just did last segment for Batman Cape Crusader and the changes they did. I think that I applaud the show for taking a shot, but it just was something that was struggling to connect with that pop culture audience.
No, I agree.
And that's something that you're seeing more and more of these days.
Yeah.
And where this ultimately lies is a big question mark.
Well, and I think some of it does certainly tie into oversaturation. And Star Wars is heavy with it these days. I'm looking at a list on Wikipedia of the various series. And you look at it, you go back to, we'll just say 2023. We're not going to go back all the way to when Disney bought the damn thing.
Sure.
But you look at something like, you had, where is it? There it is. 2023, you had January through March, season 2 of Bad Batch premiered. And then after January, flipping back and forth between the two, after January, you then had in March through April, season 3 of Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. Then in that same amount of time period, you had Vision season 2 dropped in May of 2023. You had what is it? Let's see. You had season 1 of Ahsoka was in August of that same year. So you had 3 series in 6 months drop at the exact same time. Various time periods, various this, various that. So I definitely think it's oversaturation, and I think a little bit of a pause, a little bit of a break, because especially for it just feels like shows in general, we get done with one thing and we got maybe a week, maybe not even a week. It sometimes overlaps where we're going into the next thing. Here's the next thing. Here's the next thing you got to watch.
Well, you have to think about it like this, just on a smaller scale, and we'll even use our show for prime example.
Yeah.
How many weeks ago did Batman Cape Crusader come out?
At least 3 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe a month.
Did we have time to talk about it till now?
Nope.
And why is that?
Because there's so much going on.
We're talking the Acolyte. We're talking House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
We're talking the boys. There's so much out there right now that it's a challenge for the consumer. And it's almost the approach that they've taken now for the less is more, especially with the MCU.
Yeah.
You saw it paid dividends. The gap between Deadpool and Wolverine in the last film, we're talking nearly 6 months.
Yeah.
And it worked because the fans were ready for it again.
Yep.
And now we're having another long gap from now until February with Cap Brave New World.
Mm-hmm.
How will that factor in? Well, we're going to see with the Agatha show.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be
in September,
a couple
October.
Weeks.
Yeah.
A couple weeks.
Yeah.
So when that starts playing out, we're going to see when that wraps up. And then Disney Plus has another show waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
And we just don't know release dates yet of Ironheart and Daredevil. We do know they're coming.
Right. Well, Ironheart's been done for a while.
Right. So logically saying that would make the most sense that would be the next one we see.
Yeah.
But it also goes back to the test of we're slowing down and letting the stories really grow and making the fans want them. And it's smart. It might be frustrating for us that we live in a creative society where we want it all and watch it all and consume. But I think for where they need to go with this, and I think the Acolyte might be an example that we use more often, is it's a risky take, but was it too much too soon?
I think it might have been. I think if you wanted to do a show set in that time period, I think it definitely could have been something else and it would have worked a little bit better. I think if you'd have set it kind of in the same time period that the books and the comics are in now, in that it's against the Nihil, who are this, and I'm oversimplifying the hell out of this, but they're this pirate force that is looking to conquer parts of the galaxy and liberate them from government oppression. And they're, I don't want to say enslaving worlds, but they're cutting them off from the rest of the galaxy. And it's kind of the battle of we're taking on these forces. We're also trying to figure out how we can save these worlds and all the stories that are taking place within them. I think that would have worked better in that.
I agree.
Hey, we're seeing Jedi and galactic forces take on pirates. That's a tale as old as time. Maybe not with the Jedi part, but government forces taking on pirates. Hello, there was how many movies from Disney about that same prospect with Pirates of the Caribbean? It wasn't the overarching theme, but it was a theme in those movies.
It was a theme, but it was enough to establish and win over the pop culture.
It was enough that there's 5 movies from the one timeline, and they're looking at doing another reboot.
Yeah.
There's been enough. It's been done.
It's been done, and it makes perfect sense for where they need to go.
Yeah.
So
and the other thing I think needs to be said is I know there's some folks on there who are holding out hope that it might not be canceled yet because Disney and Lucasfilm haven't said anything yet. And while normally I would agree with you on certain aspects that until we hear it from the proverbial horse's mouth being Lucasfilm, it is in fact, in this case, we're not going to hear anything because the only instances we've ever seen them say, this is it, is when the show is coming back and it will be the final season. Case in point, Clone Wars. They did it 3 fucking times.
Yeah.
They said it once with season 5, which was admittedly after the final episode aired on March 2nd, 2013. But by that point, the fans knew what was going to happen because Disney had bought Star Wars and everything behind the scenes and the new movie and blah, 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 blah. But by that point, we already knew. We were just waiting on them to confirm it. They did it again a year later when they feel like, hey, we got more episodes coming, but this is going to be it. We haven't worked on anything else. And they did it for season 6. Then 6 years later, they announced season 7 for the Clone Wars. And they went, no, really, this is it. We're done. And you go and watch season 7 where the final season ends. Yeah. Rebels did the same thing. They said, hey, this is it. We're doing 4th season is going to be it. And after that, we're not coming back. And 4th season was the end. Now, you can sit there and you can say Ahsoka season 5, but officially season 4 was it. Resistance I can't speak to. I tried watching Resistance. I couldn't get into that. Bad Batch. They said Bad Batch season 3 was going to be it. This is the final season. You look at other shows like Visions or Tales. You had Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire. They never said after season 1 of Visions that there was going to be a season 2.
Yeah.
They kind of left it open-ended. They didn't cancel. It wasn't announced it was canceled. It wasn't announced it was renewed. It was just kind of there. And then they came out of left field and was like, oh, hey, we're going to do season 2. And everyone's like, oh, okay, sure. And then you had Tales of the Jedi. That was supposed to be a one-off. I think partly due to how it was received and probably the viewership numbers for it was enough to go, hey, you know what? Why don't we do another one? There's some there's some stories we can do here. So they did season 2. But you look at some of the live action stuff outside of Mandalorian when, if memory serves, they announced it was going to get a second season before the first season even aired. They've never said outside of Andor that it was going to get a second season. Book of Boba Fett, which we can tie that into. Tamora Morrison has said that Boba Fett's not going to be in the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu's story. He said, quote, the show's reception does seem to have impacted the future of the character in the franchise, close quote. But you look at Book of Boba Fett. It got 1 season. It finished airing on February 9th, 2022. We're 2.5 years since that series ended. We haven't heard a word about it. Probably not coming back for season 2. Kenobi finished airing in June of 2022. So again, we're just over 2 years since that ended. That I think most people liked it. I don't want to say it was an overwhelming success, but most people I felt liked it. We haven't heard anything for season 2. So again, likely, probably not going to get a second season. The one exception we knew going into it was going to get a second season that I can remember is Andor. Yeah. Because we knew going into this, okay, well, it's going to tell a story and it's going to bridge the gap between where the Andor story starts and Rogue One begins or possibly ends. Who the hell knows? We don't know where it's going to go. But we knew it was going to get a second season. Ahsoka was announced after the fact. Skeleton Crew, we don't know. The telling thing with Skeleton Crew and the thing to keep in mind is Acolyte, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, Ahsoka. Well, not necessarily Ahsoka. Season 2, season 1. But Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. Everything we've seen on screen was written and filmed before Dave Filoni took over as the chief creative officer for Lucasfilm. He's the Kevin Feige of Star Wars at this point, just to make a comparison some folks might understand.
Right.
The first thing that has been written and being filmed under the under the Dave Filoni banner is the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Ahsoka season 2 under his banner, but you know what? I like to think, considering he was the showrunner for season 2, it's probably going to be as good as season 1 was.
I would say.
But Skeleton Crew, written and filmed before Dave Filoni was the creative officer. Acolyte, before Filoni was the creative officer. So to me, it's this kind of weird in between, almost like with DC, where you had the stuff come out before, then you had, it was announced that you had the two guys take over, James Gunn and the other gentleman, I forget his name and I apologize. But
Peter Safran.
Thank you, Safran and Gunn took over. And there's that weird in between where they're taking over. There's a clear start point for their stuff, but there's still stuff coming out in between. And where does it fall? Is it going to be good? Is it not? And that's kind of where we're at, where clearly Dave Filoni had his hands in Ahsoka. He created the damn character with George Lucas. So that, that was pretty good, at least in my eyes. Acolyte, he really, for all intents and purposes, as far as we know, didn't really have all that much to do with. Skeleton Crew, again, written and filmed before he was really in control of things. Could they have consulted with him in some way? Yeah, sure. I'm sure he's always willing to lend a helping hand when need be. He learned from George Lucas himself. He was working on Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 1. Go watch that on Paramount Plus, or I think it's still on Netflix. It's on like 100 different places. Go watch Season 1. He's got a couple of writing credits for Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 1, the animated version. And then he got a phone call from the folks at Lucasfilm saying, hey, we want you to come work on this Star Wars show. And that's when he came over, and he worked with George Lucas on Clone Wars for the first 5 seasons. So if there's anyone that can shepherd this universe, it's the guy who learned from the feet of the dude who created it.
Yeah.
So getting back to my point, it's kind of like this weird in between, like where DC is, where you've had stuff that came out, you had somebody to come in and take over, somebody new come in and take over, and be the creative officer. And there's this weird stuff in between. Is it good? Is it not? Well, that's kind of up to the viewer. And that's kind of up to where people are. But the telling point because it's kind of dejecting for me, I'm super into all this stuff. I love Mandalorian. I thought Book of Boba Fett was good. Not great. It was good. Kenobi I loved. Andor, yeah. I'll admit, I did not like Season 1. I'm one of the few people I've seen online. Everyone seems to universally love Season 1 of Andor. I did not really like it.
It was too slow.
Yeah, exactly. I've said before, and I'll say it here publicly, before Season 2 comes out, I'm probably going to rewatch Season 1, just kind of refresh myself and see if I like it any better. Because I think part of my issue with Andor Season 1 was we were watching a lot of stuff at that point that was all slow burn. So it was like the 5th or 6th show I was watching, either for here or just on my own time, that was doing a slow burn. And I'm like, not fucking everything needs to be a slow burn. Please, for the love of God. But I'm willing to give it another chance to see if I like it. But, once we see with Mandalorian and Grogu and whatever else they decide to announce with afterwards, because after Skeleton Crew, we're kind of in this weird period of, and Mandalorian and Grogu, but that's going to be a movie. We don't know what's coming.
Right.
They really don't have anything announced. Now, that could be deliberately so, that they're kind of doing a readjust and let's figure out what we need to do and what makes sense and what doesn't, and go from there. Because when you think about it, they've kind of been on a defense, and they being Lucasfilm have kind of been on a defensive mode and in recovery since The Last Jedi came out.
It's true.
Because you had The Last Jedi come out, not well received. Rogue One came out. I think Rogue One came out before Last Jedi. I think it did. But regardless, Rogue One came out very well received. Solo came out. Mixed reviews. People are warming up to it now, which is weird to see. But when it first came out, people did not like Solo. You had Rise of Skywalker, which we know people's opinions on that one.
Yep, enough said.
Season 1 of Mandalorian, people loved it. Season 2 of Mandalorian, people liked it. Might have loved it even more than they did season 1. Season 3, kind of mixed. We'll see what happens with the movie. Book of Boba Fett. And I'm talking with these reactions outside of the core Star Wars fan base that either loves it or hates it. I'm including the casual fans with this. Book of Boba Fett, kind of a mixed bag, I would say. I know it wasn't universally loved. I know some people who liked it, but it seemed like, to me, the majority of folks didn't really like it. Kenobi, I liked it. Mixed bag, though. Andor, from what I can tell, people universally love Season 1. Ahsoka, again, mixed bag. Acolyte, a whole hell of a mixed bag. Seemed to skew more negative for my opinion, or from my observations than anything. But they really haven't had, and then Skeleton Crew, we'll see. That's coming in December. We really don't know. And I haven't heard of any screenings and early reactions of what's been seen. So maybe there's been stuff and I've missed it. But you kind of couple that all together, there's been more misses or negative mixed reactions than, boy, we love this. And I'm not even going to count the animated stuff, just because that's a whole ball of wax that really doesn't jump into the pop culture. When I talk the Bad Batch with maybe a casual Star Wars fan, someone who hasn't seen everything, most people I probably ask have not going to heard of it.
Yeah.
Have heard of it. Clone Wars, yeah, maybe. It's been around since fucking 2008. I think Clone Wars is kind of gone into that pop culture where like folks know where it is. I mean, Hayden Christensen name dropped it during Star Wars Celebration a couple years ago. You know, Rebels, again, people might know it because of the stuff that happened in Ahsoka season 1, but it really hasn't crossed into that like, oh, it's pop culture. So they've been on a defense. They've been on a recover mode. And I think they're finally going, all right, we need to get ahead on this. And the head is Dave Filoni. And he learned from George Lucas. So he's the best. I've said for years, I have said since 2009, 2010, that he is the best storyteller in Star Wars, bar none. Listen, I love Charles Soule. Charles Soule is an incredible Star Wars storyteller. Dave Filoni's above Charles Soule. Dave Filoni, go watch some of those Dave Filoni written, Dave Filoni directed episodes of Clone Wars. I'll give you some if you need some to go watch. He is the best storyteller. He is the best head for Star Wars right now. And with him at the helm, I have all the faith that they're going to be able to right the ship and get things going back in the right direction.
Yeah, we'll just kind of have to wait and see. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts going on here, but to kind of wrap things up with it, it is a shame it was canceled, but it's one show that, I mean, we've seen a trend of this lately.
Yeah, and it's not entirely possible. The comics are still going. Novels are still coming out. They have not, in any way, shape, or form, announced an end to this project of the High Republic. Right. So it's very easy. I mean, they've done it there was the Asajj Ventress novel. I forget what the title of it was. But they did an Asajj Ventress novel, a centric novel, where it was stuff from unused scripts of the Clone Wars. You know, that got written together and tied together into this novel. They could very easily take some of the plot threads or whatever Leslie Headland had for season 2, do a novel. They could do a comic series of it. So it's not entirely possible. It's quote unquote dead in the water.
Right. They have options to play with. Yeah. But in this situation, though, for live action, to just wrap things up with it, it's one of those moments that, yeah, it's bittersweet because we did get the show, and unfortunately it's not coming back as we know. I mean, is it possible it could? Yeah, sure, but history tends to say that it's not coming.
You want to know what? If you want to make it a comic, here, I'll throw this out. Have Leslie Headland work with it, but give it to Justina Ireland. Yeah. Justina Ireland is a fantastic writer, especially when it comes to some of her Star Wars stuff. You know, pick whatever artist you want. They're all the artists who work on the Star Wars comics are great, but give it to, because Kevin Scott, busy dude. Daniel Jose Older, busy dude, because he writes some of the novels as well. But give it to Justina Ireland. Have Justina Ireland do a comic series with it.
You can do a lot of things with it. We'll just sum it up with that. Yeah. But in the meantime, though, it's not coming back. A lot of fans are talking about it. Is this going to be a trend moving forward? Is it not? Hit us up on the hashtag ODPH pod. What is your thoughts about the Acolyte being canceled? And where do you see this going with a live action for Star Wars and Disney? Let's talk about it, shall we? But we're going to get one last breakout. We'll be right back.
Hi, guys. This is Mac Room. I'm the writer of Inferno Go Red, and you're listening to the ODPH podcast.
Coming back for the final segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. Pad, what you got?
Got a couple things to talk about. First of which is a little bit of sports news and talking local minute, looking at the standings for the AA minor league baseball and the Eastern League, which is the league where the division where our Binghamton Rumble Ponies playing. Got Portland Sea Dogs, who are the Boston Red Sox affiliate, in first place with a record of 67-46. Hartford Yard Goats, the Colorado Rockies affiliate, who are in second place with a record of 62-50. They're 4.5 games out of first place. Our Binghamton Rumble Ponies, who are the New York Mets affiliate, in third place with a record of 57-54. They are 9 games out of first place. Somerset Patriots in fourth place with a record of 57-55. They are 9.5 games out of first place. Got the Reading Fightin' Phils, who are in fifth place with a record of 51-62. They are 16 games out of first place. And then you got New Hampshire. I believe they're the Fisher Cats. They are the Toronto Blue Jays affiliate. They are in last place with a record of 45-66. So looking at the games the Rumble Ponies had in this past week, they had a series against the Portland Sea Dogs. They had a doubleheader on Tuesday the 13th. They lost both games. First one 5-2, second one 4-2. Lost on Wednesday 6-4. Lost on Thursday 5-3. Lost on Friday 8-2. Lost on Saturday 10-2. But they won on Sunday by the final score of 7-3. I was at the game on Saturday, and I now realize why Portland is in first place. They're fucking good. Yeah. Holy shit, that was insane. But you got another home series starting up this week. They're playing the Reading Fightin' Phils. The first game is on Tuesday, August the 20th at 6:35 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday, August 21st at 6:35 p.m. Eastern. Thursday, the 22nd at 6:35 p.m. Eastern. Friday, the 23rd at 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Saturday, the 24th at 6:07 p.m. Eastern. And then Sunday, the 25th at 5:05 p.m. Eastern. Usual promotions going on that week, 2 for Tuesday. The Tuesday game does have a cross belt bag giveaway. That's the first 1,000 fans in attendance will receive a cross belt bag. Not sure if that's a new fancy schmancy way of saying the thing you put across your with. You know what I'm talking about?
What, the fanny pack?
Fanny pack. Thank you. Not sure if that's a new way to say fanny pack, but is what it is.
Yeah.
Wednesday is of course We Care Wednesday, and one of the highlights is going to be Less Likes More Love Night. It says join minor league baseball and Snapchat for a night of less likes and more love, presented by Snapchat. So hey,
okay.
Snapchat's still around apparently.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't heard anything about them in quite some time.
Thursday, one of the promotions is Salute to the Puzzle Cube. I'm not sure if that's one of the Rubik's Cube, but Puzzle Cube. Says, quote, are you capable of solving a puzzle cube? Have you always tried but can't find how? Find out how. Join the Rumble Ponies as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of the beloved Puzzle Cube. So you got that going on. Plus, they will be, that's Rubik's Cube. It's Puzzle Cube Specialty Jersey Night. So players and coaches will be wearing
interesting
special Puzzle Cube inspired jerseys that not even the fighting Phils will be able to solve. Boy, will that be ironic if the Phils beat them that night.
Yeah.
Then on Friday is, of course, another fireworks series night, so that'll be an awesome show. But it's also Ruh-Roh Scooby-Doo night. It says the Rumble Ponies have called in Mystery Incorporated as a ghostly bee continues to wreak havoc around Marabito Stadium. Boy, I got a hunch I know who that is. It says join Scooby-Doo and the gang as they help the ponies unmask the ghost. Also, they will be wearing Scooby-Doo specialty jerseys. Says they will be wearing Mystery Machine van-inspired jerseys on Ruh-Roh Scooby-Doo night. So that'll be definitely. But hey, if you've been in the Binghamton area for long enough, you got a hunch you know who that bee is running around. I think his first name starts with Buddy. Then, of course, it's 6:07 Saturday, so they will be wearing their Binghamton-themed jerseys. It's also the 9 night. It says the Binghamton Rumble Ponies and Security Mutual Life Insurance join minor league baseball in celebrating the 9 night, a tribute to the impact of African Americans on the game of baseball. Come out and celebrate African American heritage with locally owned African American businesses and leaders out on the concourse throughout the night. And then on Sunday, you of course have It's Another Kids Eat Free Sunday. So every Sunday, kids eat free at the ballpark thanks to our friends at McDonald's Mac Clark. All children 12 and under will receive a voucher for a hot dog and a small soda. It's also Marvel's Defenders of the Diamond Specialty Jersey Night. They will be wearing their Marvel-themed jerseys, which are designed by Marvel themselves. Mm-hmm. And then it's also Marvel's Superhero Sunday. It says it's a bird, it's a plane, it's a Rumble Pony. Join the Rumble Ponies for a Super Sunday at the ballpark. Come dressed as your favorite Marvel superhero. Be on the lookout for some marvelous guests joining the Rumble Ponies for a pre-game meet and greet. It's also a Senior Stroll Sunday, so of course, if you show up, all fans 16 and older can get an advantage of a discounted ticket specials at the box office. And then for the first 30 minutes that the gates are open, all fans can take a stroll around the warning track. And it's a Kids Club Sunday, so you can sign up for the Dick's House of Sport Kids Club. Got that going on. Also a little promotion. First 1,000 fans in attendance get a Groot bobblehead giveaway.
That's cool.
It is, and it is a very nice Groot bobblehead. So for more tickets, information, all that good stuff, bingrp.com.
The 9 night sounds like a very cool promotion.
Yes.
I want to go back to that. That sounds like a very, very cool thing to go support.
Definitely something you should check out if you are in the area.
Yes.
Then we got some entertainment stuff to talk about, and quite a bit of it. First of which is we got a trailer for the upcoming Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft anime series, which is dropping on Netflix on October 10th. It looks like it's drawing inspiration from the more recent series of video games.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks very similar to what we've seen lately for Lara Croft.
Yeah, it looks very good, though. Super excited to check that out. Then we got a lot of video game news. The first of which is it was teased, leaked, I guess you could say, and officially announced that we're going to be getting a re-release. Not sure if it's a remaster or what the whole deal is, but it's at least a re-release for the video game Rockstar did way back in the day, Bully. So this was initially teased or leaked, I guess you could say, by the Taiwan Digital Game Rating Committee, where they rated the game for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, the modern Xbox Series, and then also PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Should note that it looks like it's using a PS2, PlayStation 2 emulated version of Bully that's already available for PS4. But this looks like it might be something new, or not sure if it's a remake, re-release. But it was announced that Bully is available to download via GTA Plus for those members starting on August 20th. And check your stores for when that's going to be available in your area. But hey, for those of you who wanted to play or replay Bully, you're going to be able to here.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I remember that game had a in my opinion, a cup of coffee, and it was kind of a big deal. But yeah, it's kind of interesting they're going back to it about that.
Yeah, initially came out on October 17th, 2006.
Yeah, if anybody's played that, definitely hit us up. Let us know.
And then got to talk some Gamescom stuff, because Gamescom is kicked off today officially, and it's running through Sunday, August the 25th. You can definitely, I'm sure there's going to be streams on Twitch going on about it, but if you want to check out some official live streams, you can go to their YouTube page or their website. Got a little bit of a schedule here going on. Of course, today was opening night with host and presenter Jeff Keighley ran things. That stream's already gone on. I'll get to some of the big stuff that was announced during that. But here's the schedule as it goes on. I'm going to give you all the Eastern times so you can figure out what it is in your area. On Wednesday, August 21st at 8 a.m. Eastern, there will be a live stream from Bethesda. 9 a.m. Eastern will be a live stream from the folks over at Xbox. Then on Thursday, you got another live stream from Bethesda at 8 o'clock and another one from Xbox at 9 o'clock. Not sure if it's going to be the same one or something new or restream, whatever it is, but I'll have to tune in and find out. Friday, August 23rd at 7 a.m. Eastern will be the Gamescom Awards Show. There will be another Bethesda live stream at 8 o'clock, another one from 9 o'clock from Xbox, a whole bunch of other stuff going on, so definitely want to keep an eye out on that. Some of the stuff that was announced during the opening night, because this is the big heavy hitters. This is some of the big news that was announced. Kind of leaked and rumored that something was coming, but officially got confirmed. Borderlands 4 was officially announced. It's got a 2025 release window for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. They put out a trailer for it, but not a whole hell of a lot to glean from that trailer other than, hey, it's coming.
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad for them because I get the feeling they were kind of hoping that the movie would do well and there'd be kind of this wind of oh my God, another game's coming. The movie's flopping, folks. But hey, got a new game coming. I like the gameplay from the last one. The story was so if they can improve on the story but keep kind of the similar gameplay, hey, it'll be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
They also announced a new game in the Dying Light franchise. This is titled Dying Light: The Beast. So not a whole hell of a lot to go off of this. They did release about a 2-minute trailer, which trailer looks good. Where I guess from the description on the Dying Light YouTube page, it says, quote, "We just dropped a thrilling first look at Dying Light: The Beast, the upcoming standalone adventure you don't want to miss. What was that thing in the woods? Wish list now to be the first to find out." It says Dying Light: The Beast is a thrilling standalone zombie adventure set in a tightly crafted rural region. Play as Kyle Crane, a legendary hero who breaks free after years of brutal experiments. Now he must realize there's more at stake than just revenge. So we'll see what's going on with that. Also announced from the Fable universe.
Wow, that's throwing back.
Yeah, Peter Molyneux announced a new game titled Masters of Albion. Reading from an article on IGN.com, it says, quote, "The trailer for Masters of Albion, Peter Molyneux's return to a traditional style of games after a decade-plus stint in mobile development, welcomes you to the familiar vast world of Albion. This world is, of course, the setting of Fable, the beloved RPG series Molyneux served as creative lead on at Lionhead Studios through the 2000s. But today he returns to Albion not to craft a new Fable, that's Microsoft and Playground Games' job, but to make something simultaneously new and nostalgic. It says Masters of Albion aims to be something of a Molyneux greatest hits, a project that revisits ideas from many of the prolific designer's past games and reinterprets them for the modern age. Close quote. So, hey, something new from the Fable creator.
Yeah, I was going to say, did not expect to hear about this.
No, totally out of left field. Mm-hmm. Speaking of out of left field, we got a new Mafia game.
Wow.
Yeah.
What year is it again?
I know. This one was announced. It's coming to PC, PC, Xbox Series X/S, and the PS5 sometime in 2025. And it's going to take place in Sicily in the 1900s, and it's called Mafia: The Old Country. So something tells me they're going to make you an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. But Mafia, I got to get to those. I got like the first two free on PlayStation through various PlayStation Plus offerings, but I have yet to get around to it. Then we got a trailer for something I did not know was coming, but once I heard about it, I was like, well, this seems interesting. I watched the trailer with you, and it seems interesting as all hell.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, the show is titled Secret Level, and it's coming to us from the folks over at Amazon Prime Video, and it's made by the Blur Studio, who are the creators of Love, Death, and Robots. So another animated anthology series that they did. A lot of people love that one. But it looks like it's going to bring several video games into animation form with short stories, probably some sort of interconnecting thing between the two. I noticed a couple of series in this. I know Sifu got listed in the quick blaze of video game titles that was in there. Mega Man was in there. Kratos from God of War was shown in there very briefly. Pretty sure I heard or saw Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm like, give me fucking more of that story, please. But it is coming on Amazon Prime Video on December 10th, and it looks really good.
Yeah, no, it looks very good. I mean, still not sure what to think of it all yet.
Yeah,
but it looks good, though.
Different, but very good.
Yes.
Then we got a new trailer and an official confirmation about the upcoming Indiana Jones video game. So we, of course, know that the upcoming Indiana Jones video game is going to be released on December 9th, 2024. We did learn, though, and it's been kind of rumored for a couple of days, maybe about a week or so now, that obviously you had Sea of Thieves a couple months ago. It was an Xbox exclusive. Well, now it's on PlayStation. But there's more Xbox games coming. We didn't know what. And there had been rumors that it was maybe Gears of War, maybe Halo Master Chief Collection, which would be fucking wild.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be the latest Horizon driving game. Or maybe Indiana Jones. Well, it got officially confirmed today at the Gamescom live stream that after a little bit period of exclusivity on Xbox, that the upcoming Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is the game's name, is going to be coming to the PlayStation 5 during the spring of 2025. So as somebody who is a diehard Indiana Jones fan, I've seen every movie. I was super bummed at first when this looked like it was going to be an Xbox only exclusive because it's developed by the folks over at Bethesda. Microsoft owns Bethesda. So I'm like, they're not going to want to play ball with PlayStation, but they're playing ball and I'm going to be able to play it. So thank you, Bethesda.
Yes.
It looks very good. Super excited to play this. Then we got an official confirmation and a release date for the upcoming Marvel Rivals game. You're not familiar with what this is. You ever seen Overwatch? Take that, slap some Marvel skins and maps on it, and boom, you have Marvel Rivals. And it is set to launch on December 6th, 2024. And there was a new gameplay trailer we saw where there was Captain America was in there, Winter Soldier, and Doctor Doom was moving chess piece on a cosmic scale. So obviously Doctor Doom's going to be in this. I would not hold my breath for like some of the more well-known actors and actresses voicing the characters in this, but hey, you never know. But if you're into the Overwatch, Apex kind of...
That whole kind of vibe.
This is going to be right up your alley. I've seen some gameplay of it, and it does look fun. It's not necessarily my cup of tea. I kind of got out of that whole realm of gaming a while ago. But I will say from the gameplay I've seen, Doctor Strange is like the most OP person in that game.
Yeah.
I'll have to show you the clip, but there's one point because Doctor Strange, he can create portals and this and that. He sets up a portal from where the enemy team first spawns in and runs through. He then, I think this is on Asgard, he then sets up the other side of the portal off the ledge of the map so that when the game starts, the doors open, the enemies run through this portal because, hey, they've only got one way to go, and they then all run off of the map. So I'm sure they'll probably change it by the time the game officially releases. But from the footage I was seeing, Doctor Strange looks like the most overpowered character in the video game. But it does look fun.
No, it does. Yeah. It does. So briefly before we get into our comic picks of the week, Marvel gave us a nice press release that we are going to see the debut of a character we've seen on a certain animated series appear in the comic book form. So quoting the press release from Marvel Comics, quote, Marvel Comics annual celebration of Native American Heritage Month will be extra special this year with Kahori, Reshaper of Worlds, #1, a new one-shot that will introduce Kahori, the breakout hero from the second season of Marvel's animated anthology series on Disney+, What If? The new installment in the Marvel Voices line will be written and drawn by an array of exciting talent, including Kahori's co-creator and What If writer Ryan Little.
Ooh.
The character's debut adventures will also be written by indigenous creator Hani David and Kelly Lynn D'Angelo in their Marvel Comics debut, and featured art by acclaimed Marvel artists David Cutler, Jim Terry, and more, end quote. So this will be dropping November 6th. So if you're a fan of the character, and obviously it was a breakout hit in season 2 of What If, this will be something to keep an eye on as this year is winding up.
Definitely got to check that out. I really dug the character in What If season 2.
Yes, same here.
That was awesome. As someone who admittedly was not super familiar with the character, really dug it.
Yeah, so this is going to be one definitely keep an eye out for. Obviously, we know What If season 3 is coming, and it's going to be the final season for now. But this is going to be a great companion piece as we're seeing the character jump from the small screen into the comic shops. Speaking of comic shops, what are you picking up this week, Pat?
Couple things. The first of which is from the folks over at DC. Nightwing issue 117. Who's the author on that still?
It's Tom Taylor.
It's still amazing. This one says, while Dick connects with the ghost of his past, Nightwing takes to the street to defend his honor. But how can he be in two places at once? And what shocking revelation does Dick learn when confronted with the truth behind his parents' death? The Heartless Saga continues in this penultimate chapter of this celebrated run.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to read this.
What can you say? It's Nightwing. Enough said.
Then you've got Superman issue 17 from Joshua Williamson. And this is an Absolute Power tie-in. And on the cover it says, Down the Dark Path. And you got Superman with the little bit of an interesting suit he's got on there. Zatanna's also there as well. And this one reads, quote, after the traumatic events of Absolute Power #2, Superman and Zatanna trek into the darkest areas of the DC universe to find a way to stop Waller and her growing army. Powerless and without magic, are they willing to make a deal with a devil to save the world? It looks really good, though.
Yeah, it does. I mean, anything that's coming out of Absolute Power is making a lot of noise right now. So definitely Williamson's run there is really taking the ball and running.
Yeah. Then you've got Phoenix issue #2 from Stephanie Phillips. And this one reads, quote, Jean Grey is dedicated to protecting innocence in deep space. Yes, space is vaster than imagination, greater and darker than the mind can comprehend, and yet not big enough to stop family from dropping by without warning. But that's how it goes when your father-in-law is Corsair of the Starjammers. Leaving the pirate life behind, he's got the inside line on huge news. And Phoenix is the only one who can act to save untold lives. That is, if she can believe he's telling the truth. This cover's amazing.
Yeah, this series has been on point since it came out from the ashes, and Stephanie Phillips is right. Enough said.
Then you've got the 3 issues I will have reviewed for Nerd Initiative this week. The first of which is Ultimate Spider-Man issue #8 from Jonathan Hickman. Need I say no more? I will, because this one reads, quote, Kingpin's Sinister Six. Kingpin gathers a team to deal with his masked vigilante problem, but a group of supervillains isn't the only challenge Spider-Man will face. Meanwhile, Green Goblin joins forces with Doc Ock? Very good issue this week. You're definitely going to want to pick this one up if you've been reading and keeping up with the whole Ultimate Universe, the new Ultimate Universe. Then you've got Star Wars The High Republic Adventures, issue #9 from the folks at Dark Horse and Daniel Jose Older. This one says, Zine, Lula, and their team are looking for allies to join the battle against the dastardly Nihil. Their search leads them to an audience with the founding families of Iriadu. But Marchion Rowe's accomplices in the capital city won't make things easy. The perfect accompaniment to Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures and the upcoming Star Wars The Acolyte. Not sure why the description says upcoming because it's already out, but hey, typos. This issue, very good. And I'll just say this. You think you might have family issues? Holy hell, this issue's got, one person in this issue's has got some family issues. You read the issue, you'll know what I talk about, but boy, howdy, there's some family issues going on there. And then lastly, certainly not leastly, Star Wars issue #49 from Marvel and the incomparable Charles Soule. This one says, dire circumstances for Leia and the Rebel Alliance. The last remnants of Alderaan have come under threat from an old enemy. Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa could save these few survivors of the destroyed planet. But the Princess of Alderaan must choose between her people and the Rebel Alliance itself. This issue is a lot of fun. It's got a little bit of everything for a little bit of something for everyone. It's got a great backstory, got a great action sequence, and it's got a great conclusion that really sets up issue 50. in a really interesting way. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes and what they do with issue 50. They could go one way. They could go left field and completely surprise us. That's half the fun. And Charles Soule will be ready, so I'll be tuned in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A lot of good stuff coming out of the Star Wars universe there. For me, DC Comics, arguably the best superhero book in the market. I mean, it's debatable. There's a lot of great stuff out right now. But Batman, Superman, World's Finest, number 30. And this one is all about the first adventure of the DC Trinity.
Ooh.
So a lot of good stuff happening there. I mean, if you're looking for a little break from Absolute Power, it'll be right up your alley.
Yeah.
Even though Absolute Power has been on point no matter what the spin-off book has been coming with that. From Massive Publishing and Masked Republic Luchaverse Catalyst number 2. So they're expanding on the new universe that last month Rey Mysterio was the featured wrestler, the luchador that was involved. This month they're focusing on the Lucha Bros themselves, Phoenix and Penta.
Nice.
From AEW fame, along with Solar and Super Astro.
Cool.
So like I say, a lot of cool stuff happening there, so definitely want to keep an eye out for that. Also, one of my favorite books is returning from Image Comics, Black Cloak number 7.
Ooh.
So this is Kelly Thompson, Meredith McLaren, and this is just straight up awesome stuff. I mean, the first volume is out in trade paperback form, so they're picking right up where they left off, and a lot of stuff has changed in the land of Kyros. All I'm going to say about that. Obviously, Skybound Entertainment's got a lot of great stuff coming out as well. G.I. Joe, the Larry Hama run is picking right up. Obviously, there's a couple of Civil Wars going on. Destro, in giving the behind the scenes of his origin in the Energon universe, that's taking place as well. And then last but certainly not least for me, from Dark Horse Comics, this is something that really has gotten my attention and has not let go. Paranoid Gardens. And so this is the book written by My Chemical Romance's Gerard Way.
Yep.
And let's get weird, folks. That's the easiest way I can describe it. It's going in a lot of different directions, but it has a lot of heart behind it and a lot of emotion too. So this series is going to be a little different than everything you see at the shops, but it's well worth picking up if you like something that definitely stands out from the rest. And for more comic reviews, nerdinitiative.com, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every 15 minutes till we run out of giving you the best recommendations possible for you to go pick up at the comic shops, because let's face it, there is nothing like going to New Comic Book Day than going to your local comic shop and picking up some issues and talking with some fans and celebrating the fandom. Enough said. Whew. We had a big episode, Pat.
Yes, we did.
So I'm just going to sum it up for anything and everything. It is the ODPH. You can find it at odphpodcast.com. That's it for this week. So the one only Padawan J.
Fuck the Astros.
I'm your host, Ken M. Thank you as always for listening to the ODPH podcast. We'll see you next time.
It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know. 'Cause anyone who's worth a damn be worth way more than a picture could ever show. You could find the right light, find the right angle, and never find your soul. And it can feel like a losing battle, and this plot is full of holes. This modern way of finding love just makes me feel so alone. And I can't be the only one sick of staring at my phone. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Don't know that I believe in the old time fable. Everyone has just one true love. All I know is you're across this table, and you're all I'm thinking of. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Talk to me. left and swiping right on people you could know.